Steph knows all about the Justin Baldoni stuff. You've been keeping up to date with all the stuff that's been happening between both of them.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. If I don't make a video on it, I like it's all saved in my bookmarks and everything. So like, yeah.
So so what is going on? So like all I know is that Nicepool was basically, I guess you would say, modeled after Justin Baldoni, and then it was Blake Lively's character, Ladypool, that kills him off in the movie. That's all I know, and they hate each other, and he's like a male feminist. So what's actually happening?
Okay, so there's actually a lot that happened. But basically back in August, a lot of people on TikTok noticed that Justin Baldoni was very much not in any of the cast promotion for the movie It Ends With Us, and people were trying to figure out why. And they sort of came up with the theory that like him and Blake must not get along because Blake's a bitch. And a lot of Blake's past interviews sort of like came back into the public eye and how badly she treats people. So Blake Lively's team thought that this was Justin Baldoni's camp, like doing all of this and putting all of this information out there. So she ended up suing him for sexual harassment and like defamation, like apparently like creating a smear campaign against her, effectively ruining her career. So when that happened, she not only she didn't actually file anything. She just put in a claim, which is basically like a right to sue. Like it's a precursor to a lawsuit. It wasn't filed initially. It wasn't filed. And it was also not made public either. So like when you have something filed like that, it's done anonymous. The only people that know are like the courts and you. But somehow this made it to the New York Times and they got a hold of this this claim and they made this huge hit piece against Justin Baldoni. And I think it came out like a day or something like after he was made aware of it or something like that. So then Justin Baldoni countersued, and when he countersued like he actually filed a lawsuit, whereas Blake Lively never filed one. You know, it was just sort of like a threat. So he actually filed a lawsuit, and he not only sued the New York Times and Blake Lively, he sued Ryan Reynolds. He sued a bunch of people actually. So it was him and Wayfarer Studios, which is his production company. So like after all of this came out, like everybody was just completely, you know, canceling Justin Baldoni because Me Too and Believe All Women, and he lost out on projects, he lost out on awards, and he actually got awards stripped from him. So yeah, so people were like, this isn't right. Like, this doesn't seem right. So after he ended up suing, his lawyer, Brian Friedman, came out and said that, you know, Blake Lively, her husband, you know, the New York Times, everybody's lying and we're going to expose the truth. Because her lawsuit was filled with all of these accusations. And Justin Baldoni's team actually created a website that you can go to and view like the timeline of events that happened and all of this information and what actually happened if you're comparing the two lawsuits. After Justin Baldoni filed a lawsuit against Blake Lively, she finally actually like filed a lawsuit. Like she made it real now. It wasn't just a threat. She filed the lawsuit. But she made a bunch of claims in her lawsuit, like during a scene that was supposed to be like a montage scene. Nobody was supposed to be speaking. Justin Baldoni like ended up sniffing her and told her that she smells really good. Well, she didn't know this, but Justin Baldoni had his mic on, and he filmed all of the audio. So they actually put that video out there, and it completely makes her look like a liar. Because not only is she like berating Justin Baldoni, she's not following his direction, and she's making fun of him, and she's making fun of his appearance, and she's directing him in the scene. So there's a lot of things in her lawsuit that were complete lies, completely fabricated and debunked by his countersuit. And her lawyer tried to stop Brian Friedman from actually like exposing all of this information and putting all of this stuff out, you know, because they were like, it's making Blake Lively look bad. It's making her look like a liar, which she absolutely 100% is. Her story like kept changing depending on what was put out there by his side. When like, if you have an experience, if you experience something, if you experience sexual harassment, sexual assault or whatever, your story won't change. It'll remain the same. Her story ends up changing depending on what's out there and depending on the information, you know. So her story keeps changing, it keeps evolving, or it changes to something different. It's never consistent. So the whole thing with like Ryan Reynolds and Nicepool, that character Nicepool was created before the strikes happened, but then like when her and Justin Baldoni were sort of like fighting, I guess, I don't know, going through this drama, the look and even some of the lines of Nicepool happened after that. So it is, and there are a lot of lines that he says that are taken from Justin Baldoni. So like the look of Nicepool and some of his lines were taken like from like Justin Baldoni as a person and like how he lives his life, stuff like that. It's a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, that's reaching, you're reaching, but it was actually like in Ryan Reynolds's lawsuit, or was it? It wasn't a lawsuit. It was a request for something. What was it? Dismissal or something like that. He says that like you can't sue someone over hurt feelings. You know, he doesn't say that like I didn't do it, it's not based on you. He's actually admitting that yes, it is based on you, and you can't sue someone because we hurt your feelings. Which is so funny because this is the whole reason why Blake Lively is suing him.
Yeah.
A huge part of her lawsuit is the fact that he called her fat, or he implied that she was fat, because there was a scene where she had just had a baby and she was like 4 months postpartum or something like that, and she was very worried about how she would look on camera, which is why all of her outfits look horrible. They're all like layered. It's like a bunch of layered clothing. So there's a scene where he has to lift her up, but like Justin Baldoni has some condition with his back. So he needs to like be careful with how much he lifts and how he lifts somebody. And he asked his trainer, or he asked a trainer or something, how much Blake Lively weighed. That way he can train. Yeah. So that way he can train. So that way nobody gets hurt. So that way he doesn't get hurt. And, you know, he doesn't lift her and like, you know, his back fails and he ends up dropping her, whatever. And she took huge offense to that. Ryan Reynolds like got mad at him and said like, how dare you ask my wife how much she weighs? And, you know, it was this huge thing that happened.
Oh, geez.
And so that scene ended up getting taken out of the movie. So yeah, so like the whole thing, that's why this whole thing happened.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So so then like the updates is that him suing the New York Times, that might actually get dismissed because the New York Times has like journalistic privilege, and their arguments with the New York Times, just it's the weaker of all of his cases because they have journalistic privilege. The New York Times has been sued so many times and they are always dismissed. That it always gets dismissed. So there's a huge chance that his lawsuit against the New York Times is going to be dropped. He's not going to win that one. As much as we would like him to win, he is not going to win that one. There are a lot of people who are following this case. There's actually like helping his lawyer in like finding information and stuff. There was stuff that a bunch of TikTokers found as far as like metadata on the New York Times website and their images and the dates of the images that Brian Freeman actually saw and put into the lawsuit, which is crazy. But his lawsuits against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, right now it's supposed to be moving into discovery. So like right now what Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have done is they've actually like they've done a few things. So Blake Lively has had petitioned that she not be deposed by Brian Friedman because she doesn't like the way Brian Friedman has been talking about her on like different podcasts and with different news outlets. So she doesn't want to be deposed by Brian Freeman. And the judge completely struck that down. He's like, sorry, this is a court case. You don't get to choose who deposes you. Okay. Not only that, but she's also tried to get access to their phone records that date back to like 2 years. Not just Justin Baldoni's, but his 2 PR managers, his partner, what is his name? Jamie Heath, and also his Wayfair Studios like billionaire backer Steve Surowitz, I think that's his name. She wanted 2 years of their phone records. And the judge said, no, you can't have none of their phone records for 2 years back, because like your lawsuit says that like all of this takes place from, I think, like from August on. So why are you requesting 2 years of phone records? So like the judge completely struck that down. He's like, you can't have any of theirs, but you can have associates, right? Like third party associates. So they're trying to get the third party associates not 2 years, but I think he's like a few months or whatever. So they're petitioning to get their phone records. They're also, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are also petitioning to not allow Justin Baldoni's lawyer or like anybody on their side to see any of their phone records. So it's like, we want to see yours, but you can't see ours.
Can't see ours.
Yeah, they're petitioning their phone records be attorney's eyes only, which is an extreme measure that is only allowed in like very particular cases. The judge says that like marketing secrets and stuff, because they're petitioning for their PR reps' phone records as well. But the judge is kind of leaning on no. It's like only certain things they can get from their side, but they don't want to show them any of it. They don't want to show them any of it. And they're blaming like medical records, trade secrets. They're way too elite of celebrity couples that what if they see conversations between me and all of my celebrity friends and all of that gets leaked out there? Like, we don't want any of that. We're too high of a celebrity couple to give you access to any information regarding anything. So so it's coming off very elitist, and Brian Freeman has said as much, that like, dude, you can't like start this whole lawsuit and say like we're too famous for you to get any information from us. Like, yeah, so it's coming off really, really bad. And so now Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, they've both filed for dismissal. They've both filed for dismissal. And their lawsuits, if you read them, or their claim or their filings, if you read them, they're incredibly aggressive. Like they are so aggressive towards Justin Baldoni. They take like his podcast, and he's written a book or something like that. They take a lot of his words and they flip it and use it against him. The verbiage is crazy. In these two things, they're trying to make themselves appear like victims and sympathetic people, and in order to gain sympathy, while also completely tarnishing this man and using like disparaging language against this guy. Like they're trying to gain public sympathy, but also like coming across as dicks, as fucking assholes in these dismissals. But like these dismissals are being put through, or attempted to be put through, because in this lawsuit we've sort of reached the phase of discovery, and they're trying to stall discovery for as long as possible. Like, they do not want to give access to anything because this lawsuit is bullshit. Like, it is total bullshit. And not only that, but they've filed, I think Blake Lively filed it in California, where none of this takes place. Everything happened in New York. She actually, I believe her initial filing was in New York. So now she's trying to, California has laws that came up, or that were put in place after the Me Too movement. Okay, so she's trying to file this in California in order to take advantage of those laws. Because if she's able to take advantage of those laws, then Justin Baldoni's lawsuit will get thrown out, because you're not allowed to countersue somebody if they've made sexual harassment allegations against you in the
Yeah.
state of California. Yeah, so she's trying to use those laws in California to in order to take advantage of this case and like get it thrown out because it's looking really, really bad for her. It's looking like she's lying. Yeah, so she's trying to abuse the court system in California in order to sort of like take advantage of those Me Too laws, so that way nothing happens to her.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, because if Discovery ends up like coming out, then everybody is thinking that she's going to look horrible because they're actually going to see like the plan that she had. Like, well, I can just sue him. You know, I could just pretend like he sexually assaulted or that she sexually harassed me or whatever. So yeah, she's trying to abuse that system, and a lot of people don't like that because she's making, I guess there's a huge conversation happening like on TikTok and stuff, and even here on Twitter about how Blake Lively is well, I mean, we're already like we're already post Me Too, like nobody takes it seriously anymore, but to the people who do take it seriously still, Blake Lively is completely ruining it now. Like worse than Amber Heard did. Blake Lively is ruining it now because it already has like this really bad look in the public, and she's trying to like take advantage of it, and it's looking bad. So like if there are real victims out there, especially and in California, you know, it's she could potentially damage a lot of like the work that they did or whatever. It's that type of a conversation.
California law sucks. Yeah, don't move here, chat. It's awful. But that's a lot. Like that's a lot of information. That it's like I didn't know it went that deep and that crazy. Like for me, I just thought that he was like a male feminist that did a bunch of these stuff, like tried to like cater towards her. I didn't like for me, like I never really like Blake Lively. Like anyways,
I never knew who she was at all until this recent incident. Like it blew up. I didn't even know her husband was Ryan Reynolds and shit like that.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things I didn't know about it.
I think that like I've always kind of viewed this as like Blake Lively is done having Ryan Reynolds' kids, and now she wants to leave her imprint on Hollywood, kind of like her husband Ryan has, right, with Deadpool, and he has all of these like huge companies, and he's sort of made his stamp on Hollywood, right? People know that he is a force to be reckoned with, right? She wants her own type of thing too, and she saw, what is her name, Colleen Hoover, who's the author of the book that this movie was based on. She saw how popular her books were, and she wanted to take advantage of that because a lot of Colleen Hoover's, I think like this movie already came out, and I think like she has 2 or 3 other movies based on her books that are in pre-production right now. I think it's like 2.
So she's like the female Nicholas Sparks.
I don't know. Oh, The Notebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But like it's more of she got famous on Book Talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've never read any of her books. I didn't even watch It Ends With Us. I just kind of know what it's about. Yeah, I didn't even watch this movie. I just kind of know what the movie is about.
I wonder
through the drama.
Yeah, if she's still okay with work. Is Hoover still okay working with Lively after everything went down with It Ends With Us?
Who?
The author of It Ends, because like you mentioned, like she has other books that Lively is working with her.
So I think that they had some sort of deal, honestly, because when the production of It Ends With Us, this is like something that I tried to give you like the gist of all the legal stuff, but the whole drama with It Ends With Us was that like Blake Lively sort of took over production. She wanted to make her own cut of the movie. So like, and she did. She sort of she fired all of Justin's crew, hired her own. She hired like the composer from Deadpool and Wolverine, the editor from Deadpool and Wolverine. Who else did she hire? She hired a bunch of like her husband's people, right?
Wow.
And she made her own cut of the movie, and she would actually threaten to, not promote the movie, and they really needed her to promote the movie. Like she is the star of the movie. So she was threatening to like not promote the movie or to quit the movie altogether if she wasn't able to make her own cut of the film. And Sony said, like, okay, well, we'll let you make your cut, but like now they're left with this decision. We have Justin Baldoni's cut and we have Blake Lively's cut. Which one do we put in theaters? So they tested both cuts with audiences, and Blake Lively agreed that if Justin Baldoni's cut won, they'll put out his cut, and that's it. That's the end, right? You promote the movie, whatever. Well, Justin's won, but she got upset that Justin's won. So she not only threatened to boycott the red carpet, but she got the author to boycott the red carpet as well if her cut wasn't put out there. Her and the author went to this thing called Book Bonanza, and they took her cut of the film and they told everybody in attendance, this is the cut that's going to come out. And she ended up showing her cut to everybody that came out to Book Bonanza. So they were sort of put in this position of, okay, well, now we have to put out Blake's film.
And this is like high school shit, man.
Yeah, it really is. Not only that, but like on the red carpet, she said, I don't want Justin there, because she had him removed from all of the imagery of the film, and it was just her put on all of the imagery. She had his name, like a film by, like the director credit, that was removed.
Wow.
So she basically said, like, this is my movie. I don't want Justin there. But Justin and his studio, like, they were like, we paid for this. We paid for this movie, so we're going to be there. We're going. So he was only allowed to go when no one else was there. So he walked the red carpet by himself with like his friends and family. And as soon as they got the word that Blake Lively was on her way, he had to get rushed off of the red carpet, and they stuck him and his family in the basement of the, they stuck him in the basement. Yeah. And what's really sad is that, like, and they also like paid for the after party for like Blake Lively and all them to attend, and so that he wasn't allowed there, so he had to pay for another one, for him and his friends and families to go and hang out with, or to go and hang out at. And what's really sad is that, like, Justin invited this one fan that found him and like really loved all of his work on TikTok, and she had a fatal illness. I think she had cancer. And so she was battling cancer, and he had been following her journey, and he was just like, you know what, you're going to be my special guest on the red carpet. So, she was in a wheelchair, and he brought her, and this was like one of the last things that she got to experience before she died. And so I'm just like, yeah, she's she got put down in the basement with him. Like, Blake Lively put this dying woman down in the basement. Crap. Like, she's that much of a bitch, of a petty person. And it's just really telling that, like, that was his special guest that he brought. Her special guest was Hugh Jackman and her other friend that she brought. Like, yeah, it was so dumb. It's so sad. And like, he posted like this really nice tribute to this lady who died. So yeah. That was pretty sad.
Blake was an awful person. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the whole red carpet situation. Like that one, it was like completely new. But like, holy crap, man. It's like, as if her life wasn't bad enough, she had to go watch a Blake Lively film.
Yeah. A film by Blake Lively.
Oh man.
I'm almost done with my noodles.
Oh, she's awful. Oh. But yeah, like Steph posted a video on Twitter where Blake says the quiet part out loud and admits to lying about taking over creative control. Jeez. Yeah, like, here's the thing. It's like, she's not like, she's pretty, but she's not in terms of where she's like, and she doesn't have the I guess I guess you said the stage presence to she's not like a legendary actor or something like that. Like, she's in a lot of smaller movies. It's like, why does she have so much, like, I think it's just her husband. I think Ryan Reynolds.
She's Ryan Reynolds' wife. Yeah. I think that, like, this was her moment to be more than Ryan Reynolds' wife. I feel like she wanted to start some sort of production company that, put out movies like Colleen Hoover's. I think that was her end goal, was to get the rights back from Justin Baldoni, because Justin Baldoni, there's two books. There's It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us. So there's supposed to be a sequel to this movie. And they were even talking about the sequel on the red carpet, and he's just like, I don't know if we're gonna do it. They're definitely not gonna do it, right?
No, absolutely not now.
But Justin Baldoni owns the movie rights to both of those films, and there's a morality clause in his contract with Colleen Hoover where she can have the rights back if anything happened, like on the set of It Ends With Us or something like that. So a lot of people are presuming that is why Blake Lively sued him for sexual harassment, because if she wins that case, those rights fall back to Colleen Hoover. So now Colleen Hoover has the movie rights, and she's friends with Blake Lively. So guess what? Blake Lively gets to do the second film, and they can just recast Justin Baldoni's character.
Yeah, that's true. She thinks she's the Gossip Girl in real life. Yep, 100%. Oh, but
yeah, and I think she also used to be good friends with Taylor Swift, but I think she got involved also in this legal case, so now they're not good friends anymore. I think.
No, you don't see them together anymore.
Isn't there like beef between like her and Anna Kendrick as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's fighting everybody.
I feel like she has beef on every movie set that she's on.
Yeah, she seems like an awful person.
Yeah. I don't know too much about that. Like because I don't really know that much about. Oh my God, my dog started barking and freaking scared the shit out of me. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't really know a lot about Blake Lively aside from like all of this stuff that's been coming out, because I think I've only ever seen A Simple Favor. I never watched Gossip Girl, or I don't even know what else she's been in.
Did you watch Green Lantern?
Oh yeah.
I did see Green Lantern. I forgot she was on there. That's how they met. That's how
they met. Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Project Eggroll podcast. Make sure to catch us live every Saturday at 7 p.m. Also, be sure to subscribe, and we will see you all there.